Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to yet another episode of Deep-Seeded Geek! You know, I find it very rare when something semi-brilliant comes tumbling out of my mouth on occasion. Most times I just start talking thinking I know the best way to express my point of view. But in actual fact, I am just as surprised as everybody else to hear the words that come out of my mouth. Point in fact, during the last episode, I used a term called the emotional spectrum when talking about video games and their importance and impact that they have on us as gamers. Now that sounds like a very heady kind of term that was pulled out of a psychology class, and truth be told, it very may well have been. But since I was asleep for most of those classes, I'm gonna say no. So I doubt very much that that's where I picked up the phrase in the first place. But I know for a fact it was used in Green Lantern recently. In the last few years of the Green Lantern comic book, the creators have gone back to the very roots of Hal Jordan, and more specifically to the roots of his power ring. Which, as all my kamikazes out there know, the green power ring is powered by the bearer's willpower. Well, the creative minds behind the book actually went one step further to examine, well, what other emotions are out there that could be represented by their own power ring? Something to kind of counterbalance the power of the green ring. So with each new power or emotion that was associated with it, be it rage, greed, fear, love, compassion, or hope, each had a different color that represented it, as well as a power ring. All this made up what they referred to as the emotional spectrum. So thinking on that from last episode, I got to wondering, what video games would represent each of those emotions or powers? And I'm one of those guys who loves a good list. So, here's a list of video games that make you feel ways about stuff. For the Red Ring of Rage, we have Demon's Souls. This game has a reputation for a reason. You start off as a weakling compared to the enemies that you face. And slowly, at a snail's pace mind you, you build up more experience, more currency, more weapons and armor to kind of prepare yourself for the trials yet to come. But eventually, you will fail and you will die. And when you die, you lose all your inventory, you lose half of your life bar, and you're sent back to the beginning of the level. Oh, you can get everything back, including your humanity. But to do that, you need to find the place where you died in the game and collect everything back again. Oh, and all the enemies that you killed the first time around to get there in the first place? Oh yeah, they're all back again. With most other games, the further you progress into it, the more experience and power you gain, making it a little easier to take on the bigger enemies that come to you later in the game. But not this game. They get harder, you get weaker, it becomes impossible upon impossible to get through this frickin' game, and this is the reason for gamer rage. For the Orange Ring of Greed, we have The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. Never in my entire life as a gamer did I become so obsessed with the game that I resorted to cheating to attain everything possible in the video game. Now, I didn't cheat in the sense where I cracked into the game and like manipulated the code so everything was in my favor, But there are little tricks you can do to kind of tip the scales in your favor, like say max out your skills in archery, sneak, one-handed, two-handed, destruction, smithing, enchanting, alchemy, and pretty much any kind of looting scam you can imagine. And you can do all this through all these little loopholes throughout the system. And why would I do this? Because when I first bought this game, I vowed it would be one of the ones where I spent endless hours and I would get one of those platinum trophies on the PlayStation Network. I've been vying for one of those forever. And then I went and bought it on PC too. And I wanted to retain my gamer cred that mattered to nobody but myself. So I played through the whole thing again. And I got everything again. And I cheated, yet again. Since beating the game for the second time, I've now locked it away just so it won't be tempting me so much. But now they've released DLC for the game. And my precious is calling me back. For the Yellow Ring of Fear, we have Silent Hill. Now, I had played Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3 way before I had even heard of Silent Hill. But once I did, Resident Evil felt like a campy teenage slaughter movie. This game was a whole nother kind of creature. There weren't very many jump out at you scare moments like there are in typical horror games, because you were too tense throughout the rest of the game to even care about those things, that when an actual jump out at you scare moment happened, it was a welcome distraction from the horror that you were actually going through. To this day, Silent Hill is still one of the best atmospheric horror experiences you can have on any medium. And point in fact, on foggy nights, I will not leave my apartment. Because I don't know what the hell is out there, but I'm not stupid enough to go and find out. Representing the green power ring of willpower, Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots. One scene in specific made this game come to the forefront of my mind when I was thinking about willpower. In the final stage of the game, a slowly dying, rapidly aging Solid Snake is making his way down this long corridor just so he can save the world yet again. Knowing full well he might not even make it to the end of this hallway, being irradiated by microwaves as he goes. Knowing he has left his friends behind to die, facing unrelenting enemies with every step and stumble that he takes, he refuses to give up. With each footfall, with each gasp of air, the lump in my throat swelled even more. And I felt that scene was the embodiment of the phrase, never give up, never surrender. Although I think that's a quote from Galaxy Quest. Representing the blue power ring of hope is Shadow of the Colossus. You play an unknown wanderer who travels on horseback across the world to get to this desecrated temple with one mission in mind. You must revive your deceased lover, no matter the cost. What you're tasked with is to defeat 16 colossi in order to appease the gods that they may bestow upon you the wish that they will bring your lover back from the dead. Each of your enemies is the size of a skyscraper, and all you're armed with is a sword and a bunch of arrows. Go to work! As each one of these titans falls, a little piece of your soul dies, but still you hope. When you lose your only friend in the world to this unyielding quest, still you hope. When you are seconds away from your very last breath, you still hang on to hope. No game since has embraced this powerful incentive in such a beautiful way. Here's hoping it's not a lost genre. Ah, see what I did there? For the Indigo Ring of Power Compassion, we have Journey. I'm actually going to hold off on listing my reasons why this game is my choice for Compassion. And the only reason I'm doing that is because in the coming weeks I'm going to be doing a full-length playthrough of Journey. The game only takes 2 hours to complete, and it has one of the best gaming narratives I've ever seen. But I feel that this is one area that should be experienced and not just described. So, stay tuned, an upcoming gameplay video is going to be a full-length feature of the game Journey. Last but not least, representing the violet-colored power ring of love is Final Fantasy X. I can think of so many games recently that have embodied the idea of love. Katawa Shouju is a brilliant example of this, as well as The Walking Dead. I mean, like, there's no other video game I can think of where it embodies or it captures that feeling of a love for your child, as well as that game has. But the first game I actually felt a feeling of love in was Final Fantasy X. It's not the most popular game out of the franchise, and it's not my favorite choice in the series either. But the two main characters in the game, they go through such a natural progression of falling in love with each other that you can't help but buy into it. And like all great romance stories, there is a tragic end. And this one is not only entirely unique, but equally heartbreaking. And I've replayed this game many times over the years, and to this day, it'll still get me all misty-eyed and croaky in the throat. And with that, there you have it, folks. The video game equivalent of Lucky Charms. So thinking back on all the feelings and emotions that we experience throughout life, what are some that you feel are very well represented in video games? And on that happy note, we come to the end of another episode of Deep-Seeded Geek. I want to thank you very, very much for watching this episode, and before we go, I want to give a couple of shout-outs to some YouTube users out there. The first person I want to mention is a little lady over in the UK called Miss Kinky. This girl, she saw some of my videos, I think through YouTube Lures or something like that, and she has been nothing but a helping hand in getting my channel some more exposure. She has been sending me messages on contacting different YouTubers to get shoutouts. She's been like giving me praise left, right, and center. She's giving me tips how to play Call of Duty like a boss, but obviously I still suck, so I need some work on that. But this girl, she makes incredible videos on her own. She has great ideas, like she has a series called Kiss My Shotgun and suck my C4 or something like that. I forget right now. I should have written that down. And she's got what the fuck moments throughout Call of Duty, and that puts a smile on my face every time I watch it. So definitely check her channel out, subscribe to her, give her a thumbs up, tell her I sent you, and just give her much love because she does a lot of great work, and I think it needs to be said. Another YouTuber I want to give a shout out to is Gonk Droid Gaming. The guy gave me a shout out this Sunday, and my god, I cannot thank you enough. That was so very nice of you to do that, and I want to pay it back in full. The guy is nice enough to do this on a regular basis for YouTubers that are up and coming with gaming and all sorts of different avenues, and he seems like such a nice guy. I don't know, maybe it's a British thing, but I think you guys are just so nice to me. I've had like tons of people from the UK give me such props, and it's amazing. My entire experience on YouTube has been nothing but positive reinforcement, so I want to thank you both very much for helping me along, and any way I can help you guys back, by all means, give me a shout. Any YouTubers out there, if you want me to help you out in some fashion, give me a shout in the comments section. And with that, we're going to say like the video, share it with your friends and family, subscribe up there, and we shall see you next time on DeepSeededGeek. Take care.